We're hearing how the housing market is cooling or the housing market is shifting or hearing about a housing market bubble. Well, how about the housing market crash? What is the definition for a housing market crash? We were curious and we looked it up. We're going to share what we found. And at the end of the day, ultimately, it looks like you have to decide what percentage will make it a housing market crash. We're going to show you actual numbers for a housing market crash. We're going to cover 10 to 50% drops in the values of homes and what the actual numbers would be. We're going to use the national median home price, and we're also going to use the California median home price to demonstrate and show you how far back in time we have to go to have a similar median home price number. In other words, how far back does the housing market crash set us? And stick around to the end because we're going to show you just how much of a housing market crash we need to get to the previous lows in the global financial crisis. Hey there, Christian Walsh, real estate agent with Wire Associates. We've been helping buyers and sellers make sense of these crazy days. So if you're ready to dive into actual housing crash numbers, hit that like button. And let's get started. First things first, you want to look up the definition of housing crash. We have definitions for other words like recession. There's an actual definition for that. But for a housing market crash, I can't find anything. So I went ahead and Googled it up like my son Liam likes to say, put in housing crash definition, and I see everything under the sun about a housing bubble. And I understand that a housing bubble typically happens before there's a crash, but I still want to know what is the technical definition of a crash, and there doesn't seem to be one. We got this one, what is the meaning of a housing crash? And that also talks about a housing bubble. So at the end of the day, it looks like you have to define exactly what a housing market crash is to you and what percentage that means for a housing market crash. So let's dive into some actual numbers so you can determine what you think a housing market crash is. We're going to use the median home price. We have the data for April 2022. That's the most recent data from the National Association of Realtors. We also have the same April 2022 data for California as well, and that's from the California Association of Realtors. And an important first point that we have to show you is April 2020 to April 2022, we have a 38% increase in the median home price. That is a big, big number. And you can see that we, as of right now, we're at $397,600 for the median single family home in the United States. And we've broken it down. So you can subscribe to our email newsletter. We have a link below so you can do that. And you'll be able to play with these charts and look at the numbers. But you can see 10%, 20, 30, 40, all the way down to a 50% crash. What that would leave us with as far as the median home price. Now, I'm all about context and perspective on my channel. And you've heard me talk about that before. How do these numbers, and I mean all these numbers, compare to where we've been for a median home price going back in the past? In other words, if there's a housing market crash that goes ahead and shaves values to 50%, which a lot of clickbait YouTubers are talking about, when were we last at that number for the median home price? How far back in time does a housing market crash push us? And that's what I'm about to show you next. Let's put it in perspective. And here it is. When we go back, when we take a 10% crash, we go all the way back to May of 2021. 20% takes us to February 2021. And then a 30% crash. So if the median home price values drop by 30%, it would take us back to the median home price approximately of March 2020. Does that sound familiar? Yes, that's the start of COVID. So at this point in time, there would need to be a housing market crash of over 30% to take us to pre-COVID levels for the median home price. Keep on going, March 2017 for 40% crash, and all the way back to January of 2015 for the 50% crash. And you'll notice there that that does not get us back to the global financial crisis. Stick around to the end because we will show you how much of a market crash we need in order to get to the global financial crisis lowest median home price. It's a big number. And here we are with the California median home price numbers, higher than the national numbers and even higher in several counties throughout California. We're going through California at the state level. And you can see from 2020 April to April 2022, we have a 46% increase at the statewide level for the median home price. That is a big, big increase. So here you go, $884,890 is the current April 2022 median home price for a single family home in the state of California. And you can see where the 10% crash, 20%, 30, 40, all the way to 50 take us. Now, the interesting thing is a 50% crash in California doesn't even get us close to the current median home price at a national level. That's just the way California is. Values are up. But now let's put this into context, more perspective. And here we are. So let's see how far back into time we're pushed. If we get a 10% reduction, it takes us all the way back to February of this year. And then when we get a 20% crash, it's a full year. It takes us back to February of 2021. A 30% crash takes us to May of 2020. So already into COVID at the 30% drop in values. So just like at the national level, and even a little bit more, we're going to need more than just a 30% crash in the state of California to get back to pre-COVID median home price levels. So that is, again, very important to understand. We need a huge drop in order to just get back to what it was like before COVID started. And then we have to go back to February of 2019 to get to a 40% crash, which February 2019 isn't all that long ago. So we have to go all the way back to February 2016 to get to that 50% level for where median home prices were at that point in time. So that's a little bit back in time. But that gives you perspective. Again, we'll show you global financial crisis, where that lowest point was and what drop we need to get there. Thanks for sticking around to the end. We promise to share with you the global financial crisis low and what percentage drop you'd need. So this is at the national level. In order to get back to the global financial crisis low of 154,600 in January of 2012, you need a 61% drop in the median home price right now to get to that number. So that's a very, very big drop, a 61% drop. I don't even know if any of the clickbaiting YouTubers have said that much. Is that what you're waiting for? Let me know. And California, same thing. We're going to show you. February of 2012 was the global financial crisis low, $268,810. That is a very low number compared to where we are today. In order for that to happen, we need a 70% reduction in prices. We need a housing market crash that causes prices to drop by 70% from the current April 2022 median home price. That is a big number. A 60 to 70% drop in median home price because of a housing market crash is a big deal. And if that does happen, we have probably bigger issues going on in the world or the nation, and you probably won't be ready, willing, or able to buy a piece of real estate at that time. But who knows? Let us know in the comments below what number you're waiting for before you're ready to jump into the market. Of course, all real estate is local. We have a special deal for you with Altos Reports, some of the best data out there for every local market in the United States. Click the link below and enter your city or zip code for weekly updates on where your market is headed. And you'll also be subscribed to our free weekly email newsletter. If you like this video about the housing market, you won't want to miss this next one, so check it out. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Christian Walsh, real estate agent with Wire Associates, and we want to hear from you.